Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. My name's Lauren and welcome to my top 10 reads of 2024. We're almost at the end of BOOKMAS, which is kind of crazy, but we have arrived at the top 10 reads of 2024, which is crazy. I can't believe we are back here again reviewing 2024, like reviewing the year of reads. And I've had a crazy reading year. I've had a crazy year just in general. Crazy mental health year. I've read like a lot to cope with everything. But we're gonna talk about our top 10 reads. You know what the funniest thing is? I only have 3 of them physically. Most of the other ones that I read on Kindle Unlimited or like through the library. So these are the ones that I own. Let's get into it. I'm gonna go from 10 to 1. Before I start though, I wonder if you can guess what my top read of the year is. I wonder if you can guess. The top 2 came very close. They were like the strong top 2s. Book number 10 is Ick Factor by Morgan Elizabeth. I didn't expect this to be a 5-star and I didn't expect this to be in the top 10 of my favorite reads, but this book was amazing. I don't think I've ever loved a book as hard as I loved this book in terms of her books especially. They are so fun. This is a workplace boss assistant, fake dating, age gap. It's delicious. Like he is like quietly in love with her and all the little things he does for her are so good. So we are following Kat and Teddy, and Teddy is like destined to like take over this business, but he wants to appear more serious to his boss. So he's like, I need to find a wife. I told my boss I had a wife, I need to find a wife. And she's like, well, I'll do it. I know you really, really well. I'm your assistant. Like, I know everything about you. And like, we can just say that we kept it under wraps for so long because, you know, I was your assistant. So she's like, she says, I have like this ick factor, this ick disease. Like I get the ick from everybody within 5 dates, which means I'll never fall in love with you. Obviously that doesn't happen. There is office scenes. The spice is great. Definitely one of my top favorite audiobooks as well. I really enjoyed like the fun, fresh take and like the little small things he did for her. I just think it was a great addition and like nothing I had read before. That's number 10. Next we move to The Fake Out by Stephanie Archer. Now this has been on my list, my like raving constantly about like 6-star reads for so long. This is probably where we start like the 6-star reads and the 6-star like recommendations. But this is also another fake dating romance, which is one of my top tropes. We are following Rory and Hazel, and Rory needs a fake date to sort of keep her crazy ex away. So she enlists Rory, a guy she really doesn't like, and he is the teen playboy. She is trying to create a business where she's talking about like body positivity and teaching women and anybody really to love themselves the way that they are. They don't need to change themselves. And Rory is just obsessed with her and does all his like gift giving, and he just worships the ground that she walks on, and it is amazing. Like it is a fun, spicy hockey romance, but there is like a deeper message with Hazel's story that I resonated with so much. And like her constant like pressure from her mum and like all that is just, it is great. It is one of her best books for sure. Probably my favorite Stephanie Archer book to date. It's definitely like it's like perfectly sized romance book, and the spice is spicing. The funniest thing about my list is that there's a good chunk from the last half of the year, and like the last like 3 months of the year, and there's a good chunk from the first 3 months of the year. A couple from in between, but that's the majority of my list. Number 8 is Broken Harbour by Catherine Cowles. I have 3 books from Catherine Cowles in my top 24, so that tells you everything about me. This is a Lost Proximity, single mum. He is her son's hockey coach for the weekends. We are following Cope and Sutton. This is a romantic suspense, like all Catherine Cowles books, obviously, and she is hiding from something, doesn't really want to tell him what it is, and obviously it all unravels at the end, but she enrolls her son into this hockey academy. Her son is obsessed with him. Like Cope is her son's idol. I just think it's so sweet. Forced proximity as well, because she's got like this dodgy landlord that is trying to stooge her. He's like, come stay with me. I have plenty of space. Like stay with me. Like it's all good. I'll protect you. It's great. The ending is like my favorite. I didn't see the twist coming. Even remotely, and I love this found family. I am so excited for the next book because we meet our MMC for the next book in this. It's going to be so good. I feel like this series is going to solidify being my top series of hers of all time for sure. That said, I haven't read the Tattered and Torn series yet. Now we're at book 7. The top 7 was dicey. This could have gone anywhere. Like I could probably, besides my top 3, I could probably interchange these at any which way, so that says everything. It was really hard because so many of them are like top faves, but as they go up from 7 to 1, the messaging in them is just a little bit stronger. So what I settled on was Lost and Lassoed is number 7. This is one of my favorites There is a lot of messaging in this, but again, like I said, the messaging goes a little bit stronger. So this is about Gus and Teddy. If you've read Done and Dusted, Gus is Clementine's brother and Luke's best friend, and then Teddy is Clementine's best friend. Is a single dad nanny. He needs help for the summer while his baby mama is like away at school and needs the help to like look after his little daughter, and his daughter is already very bonded with Teddy in such a like a sweet way. They cannot stand each other. This isn't enemies like to lovers, but like once it all unravels and we see why they don't like each other and we see their walls come down and then fall in love is so sweet. And for me, the messaging in this was like about both of them, but Teddy's messaging was like my favorite part because she was like lost and felt just sort of inadequate while her friends are changing and she felt stuck and stagnant. And to me, the message was like, we all are at such different places in our 20s, and our 20s is such a challenging time, so to like give ourselves grace. She's also, both of them really try to constantly help people and constantly help their friends and family and like to let themselves breathe for a bit. That was also the other part of it. And he is just run ragged and just constantly trying to show up for everybody and just feels so much for everybody, and he just needed a little moment of reprieve. And they just gave each other such a safe space once they let their walls down and let each other in, and I loved it. Also, the dad messaging in this broke my soul. The letter at the end killed me. For such a short book, this is very heavily annotated and I adored this with my whole being. Number 6. Again, these are all dicey, I'm gonna say that. Wild Eyes by Elsie Silver. Loved single dad romance. This follows Weston and Skylar. It's funny, there's a lot of West this year, but last year there was a lot of Cades, or like Cades and Cages last year. There's a lot of West this year. So this follows Weston Belmont and Skylar Stone. Skylar Stone is like a Taylor Swift-esque country singer, and she's come to Rose Hill to prove to herself that she can record her own album and write her own album. So she's going to do that with Weston's best friend, and she needs somewhere to stay. So he offers the bunkhouse to her, and that's where she goes. And she is literally so out of touch with life because she's never worked a day in her life. He has 2 kids that aren't super little, like one's a little bit, the boy's a little bit older, the daughter's a little bit younger. And the relationship that Skylar forms with them is amazing. The relationship she forms with all the friends and the friend group, even better. And just like all the things that she does to help him, I loved. I think for me, the reason that this is in the 6th position is like the messaging of Skylar standing up for herself, showing the world that she can do anything, standing up to the people that control her and everything. I really connected with Skylar's story in so many ways. So I love this. This is kind of heavy, so check your triggers. It is a bit manipulative. There is some manipulation from like some side characters, and I cannot wait to see how Wildside goes next year. Number 5 is Daydream. Again, this could have gone a lot of different ways, but this is amazing. I've seen a lot of mixed reviews on Daydream. Unfortunately, I can't relate. However, I am the eldest daughter, so I connect so much with Hallie, and I loved Henry's story arc. I think people wanted something different for him, but this just is that quiet, soft love. Clearly what I'd like is quiet love, but this is just amazing. There's not a lot of spice. It's just very delicate, soft, beautiful spice that just makes so much sense. Hallie is a virgin, so he's gonna teach her how to get there, and he needs help with a class, so that's what they're doing. Part of this that I loved the most, again, was Hallie seeing that she has friends and people that love her and forming those friendships and making friends with people, standing up to her family, standing up to her ex, finding herself and becoming the strong, beautiful person that she is through like constantly she's just always felt like she needs to do everything for everybody. She's a people pleaser. She is just me in book form, and I loved it. He also like helped her really feel confident in her body and her shape, and she's just like us. Like she is just like us. She's just the curvy eldest daughter vibes, and this is amazing. I will always probably recommend this book. I think it's great, and don't expect some like groundbreaking romance, and don't expect some groundbreaking spice and some crazy plot, because it's not that, but it is a top book for a reason. We are on to the top 4. So number 4 is This Summer Will Be Different by Carly Fortune. Now I love Carly Fortune, not a lot of people do, but I think when you read her books, like you have to remember her books, the style of her books is that she writes incredibly flawed human characters, and that is why I love them. This book like gave me everything that I wanted and needed in that moment. This has really strong found family vibes, good strong sisterhood vibes, which is also another winner for me. I think female friendships are so important, and they're so important to me. And I like seeing healthy female friendships in books. For me, it's always a winner. Lucy goes to Prince Edward Island with her best friend every summer, and on the first summer there, before her best friend gets there, she accidentally goes home with a guy that she shouldn't have. And that is her best friend's brother, Felix. And it's their sort of tale of like navigating everything while they shouldn't be together and then finding their way to each other. And I thought it was fantastic. We also get like Bridget's story arc as well, and her fears and insecurities and like what she's struggling with as well, because I think she's just equally lost and needs help. It's not for everybody, but for me, it is for me. I loved it. 5 stars, obviously, and a top fave. Easily a top fave. So number 3 is Tin Queen by Devney Perry. This is a rival MC gang, friends with benefits, enemies to lovers. It was my top Devney Perry book of the year. I loved it. What I loved about this was the cultivation of the plot, obviously, from the previous books. Obviously, I can't talk too much about it because it's like the plot is overarching throughout this series. I loved June. I loved Emmett. I loved the way that they fell in love, and I loved this. Like, I loved her spicy character. But for me, the thing that solidified this as a top fave is one singular quote that is going to be tattooed on my body for the rest of my life. The quote is, and this is Emma talking to her, and I love it. I think it's just the best. The quote is, "He told me that a king was nothing without his queen, that the 2 most important cards in a deck were the ace and the queen. You want an ace up your sleeve and the queen at your back because women fight dirty." And that is what I loved. I just loved this so much. I thought it was fantastic and such a different way to describe relationships and love and what a romance should be. It was just different. It was feisty, it was sexy, and he just really knew that she needed someone, and he knew that she needed the support, and like he just let her do her thing and knew that she'd come back to him in a way when she was ready. And I thought it was great. Now, my top 2 came close. Number 2, I think I'm sticking with it. Number 2 is Out on a Limb by Hannah Bottom Young. This is an accidental pregnancy. Bo and Win, my sweet angel cherubs, they both have like limb differences. So she has like an undeveloped hand and he has like an amputated leg. And they accidentally have a one-night stand where they're both dressed as pirates at a Halloween party. And obviously she falls pregnant, and then it's them like navigating pregnancy and then like falling in love. It was very much journey that they take is very much like, we're gonna co-parent, we're gonna do this together. We both want this kid. Like, it didn't happen the way we wanted it to in life, but we're gonna take this opportunity and just be co-parents. And then she like grows this confidence and develops this strength and resilience, and like he pushes her to achieve her goals, which is so beautiful. And then eventually they fall in love, and the spice, it was so good. I loved the ending. I thought it was so sweet. She's got like this pain from losing her mom, and it's all a single POV, but something that sticks out to me when anyone ever says like, I don't like that it's single POV. For me, I go, it didn't need to be dual POV, because Bo was so forthcoming with his feelings and his emotions that we didn't need the second POV. We knew what he was thinking. We knew what he wanted, and that's why I didn't think it needed it. I think it was everything he could have wanted it to be. So that is my number 2. But my number one book of the year, to no surprise to anybody, is a Kennedy Ryan book, because I love Kennedy Ryan. My number 1 book of the year is This Could Be Us by Kennedy Ryan, obviously. This is a dual single parent romance. We are following Soledad and Jonah. Now, Jonah has 2 sons that are both on the autism spectrum, and Soledad has 3 daughters that she has with a white man, her husband, and it obviously deals with like the way that his family prefers one daughter over the rest because she's more white passing. That's like a heavy point of it. But what happens is her husband gets sent away to prison for stealing money from the place that he works, which funded their lifestyle. Who sent him to prison? Well, Judah. So time goes past, she's managed to reinvent herself. She's become like this influencer online and in terms of cooking, and found a new normal with her daughters. And then she runs into Judah, and even though she feels like she shouldn't, even because he's the one that sent her husband to prison, but the messaging of this is, again, the messaging of sisterhood, because the friends in this are amazing. It toes that line of women's fiction and romance, which is something that I love. The spice is more romantic and sensual than like Pound Town Spice, which is, again, another winner for me. There's 2 other parts of this that I really appreciated and loved. There was a story of loving yourself before you can love someone else. And there was a messaging of like healthy co-parenting, because Judah has a very, very beautiful relationship with his ex-partner, and how they navigate parenting and parenting kids that aren't atypical, that need extra love and care and support. And I just think it was great. Unfortunately, this lost in the top romance reads of the year, and obviously Funny Story won, and I'm sure I'll probably love Funny Story when I do read that. However, I do think that this deserved a lot more recognition. This fell like somewhere in like 12th place or something like that. She needs so much more recognition because she just writes the best books, and this book truly deserves the first place. If you have not read from Kennedy Ryan, I really recommend starting with the Skyland series because it is perfect for girls. If you're over sort of like juvenile college romances, like this is the perfect spot for you. It's heavy without being too heavy, it's spicy without being too spicy. It is the perfect mix of spice, romance, women's fiction, sisterhood, loving for yourself, everything that you could want in a book, and that is this book and this author. That is my top 10 books of the year. I cannot believe we are here. I cannot believe we made it this far. My picks were hard, and I read a lot of books this year, so retaining a lot of information was really hard. That's the top 10. See you guys tomorrow for day 11, but I hope you guys like this video. So please comment and tell me like what your top reads of 2024 were. I'd love to hear them. Maybe I'll add them to my TBR for next year. But other than that, I'll see you guys tomorrow for day 11. Bye guys.